Hello everyone and welcome aboard the Starship Arborea. I'm Commander Exorcist and it is time, once again, for Talk O Tuesday. This is my weekly Elite Dangerous show where I pick a Galnet article, read it, talk about it, primarily from a lore perspective, but I will break the fourth wall if necessary. It feels so good to say that because it's always, in the last month or two, it's been a long break between the Talk O Tuesdays because we've had a long break between Galnet articles, and that's not a bad thing because there was a point in time where we went for a very long time with no Galnet articles at all, but there was nothing in between those Galnet articles to fill the void. In this case, each time that we've gone without a Galnet article, for the most part in the last 30 to 60 days, we've had a community goal or something major going on in-game that has kind of taken the focus away from it. And so, this is the post-gold rush for the year because we had a huge community goal going on with some mining and some competition between the feds. And so, it's nice to be back. Welcome, everybody. And so today we have a spicy one. And I can tell you it's spicy because I read the first few lines of it because when I was pasting it into my to my program here, and wow, we are about to embark on quite a journey. So let's go ahead and jump forward because the Alliance has rescinded its defensive pact with Sirius Corporation. And I had all kinds of ideas for like seriously puns and stuff, but we're going to play this one straight as far as the title of the video, as you might have seen, because there's a lot to unpack. And I think that we're going to see if this is true and if what I think has played out in this article. I think this is a huge moment for a huge turning point in the galaxy. So let's take a look and see what's going on. We've got the Alliance Assembly has voted to end the strategic defense pact between the Alliance and Sirius Corporation. Something is seriously wrong here, people. The pact, agreed to in January 3308, was a response to the growing Thargoid hostility in the months prior to the alien invasion of the core systems. At the time, the Alliance Defense Force was seen as lacking anti-Xeno modules and defenses, and that is true. Prior to the engagement of the Thargoids, the overall, the war effort, prior to all that, of all of the superpowers, the Alliance was kind of seen as lagging behind when it come to the anti-Xeno preparatory stuff. And so what they did is they reached out to Sirius Corporation and they formed an alliance. And you have Sirius working with the military to boost their capabilities, specifically their anti-Xeno capabilities. And that is not uncommon throughout history. Now, we're going to talk about that probably in a few minutes, I think. The fallacies of getting too involved with a mega corporation when it comes to military support. But it's not uncommon for militaries to reach out to third-party defense contractors for major contracts and stuff to supply a certain aircraft or a certain spacecraft or a certain module or whatever. So it's not too weird, but I'd say that the level of investment for this one was definitely something to raise a few eyebrows. So Sirius Corporation spent billions on refitting ADF vessels over the past 3 years, but has been accused of leveraging its position to secure profitable contracts in unrelated fields. They just cannot help themselves. They just cannot. Sirius Corporation cannot help but be evil. It's in their DNA. It really is. And so they get in there and the Alliance pays them money and says, hey, we want you to take care of, these things over here. And while they've got their hands in these cookie jars, they're reaching behind them and they're putting their hand in the cookie jar back there. And so it's just really, really surprising. It's not surprising at all. I'm not surprised at all that Sirius has gone this route. So that makes total sense. Kudos to the Alliance, though, for sticking up for their principles. If this is the real reason as to why they're getting rid of this defensive pact, because Not a lot of people do that kind of stuff. A lot of folks will just kind of turn a blind eye to it, especially because a lot of times when these companies kind of get their foot in the door of other fields, they'll start pocketing the representatives that are involved in that particular area of like aerospace defense and stuff will start pocketing money. That's why it's so hard to get rid of what they call the deep state when you're in these kind of like military industrial complex setups where you have a bureaucratic government and a mega corporation kind of merged together in their activities. The motion to end the pact was raised by Councilor Niketo Kane, seconded by Councilor Ansley Niven of Riort. Good Lord, they do these names to me on purpose. And was approved by a slim majority. It's a slim majority because I'm sure there's a lot of people in Congress and all of the voting reps are probably getting some kind of kickback from some of this stuff. So they did not want to see their cash cow go away. In her opening argument, Kane had called the pact an opportunistic ploy for military influence in alliance space, with eyes on a monopoly over small corporations founded in alliance member systems. Now, why does that matter? Well, here's a perspective from and this is kind of a fourth wall break, but not really. It goes, consider this parallel both to the real world and to what's going on here. But when you have, say, like a military defensive system, and you have a major company, say Sirius Corporation, they develop a module, and they've been getting their butts kicked recently. Achilles Aerospace is eating their lunch and dinner and some of their breakfast at this point. And now they're losing this major defense contract. Well, what happens is you have major contractors like, say, Sirius. They develop a product, let's say the SCO drive, and they will often create and sell maintenance components for those devices, so like maintenance components to sustain the SCO driver possibly out there. But ideally, what they want you to do is buy a new one. So if it breaks, they want it to be somewhat repairable, just enough to where it doesn't cause a lot of problems and they don't get the authorities on them for like right to repair and stuff. But they won't create all of the necessary repair parts. Step in these smaller corporations. You'll get a lot of smaller contractors, smaller developers, all these people that step in to fill that void. And so if you need a particular widget to make your SCO drive or your frameshift drive run, they and I said Sirius making SCO drives. That's how common it's become. Sirius making frameshift drives. And somebody else is going to make the widget necessary to repair that frameshift drive. And what is happening here is Sirius coming in and taking over or trying to kind of monopolize those little companies. And most likely those little companies that make the maintenance sustainment elements for their technology. And what that does is that makes the OEM the only option for repair parts and any kind of modifications and stuff like that, and it just puts more money in their pocket, and it strangles out the competition. It's not good for economies. It's not good for business. We've seen it a lot, especially with technology companies throughout the years, that will develop amazing technology that gets absorbed into these megaliths, and then it just disappears, and it never has a chance to take off. So that's my theory. I think it's something along those lines that I'm willing to bet that Sirius was looking to potentially be the only dog, not just the top dog in the alliance as far as military support. They wanted to be the only dog in the yard, which you can't blame them to a certain level, but the way that they go about it has always just been evil, and this is no different. Prime Minister Edmund Mann had argued in favor of maintaining the pact, pointing out that the recent Thargoid invasion is unlikely to be the last Xeno threat we've ever seen. Oh, I almost called him Ed McMahon after another famous prime minister, but yeah, wow, that's not subtle, is it? At all. That isn't subtle at all. So what you have here is a potential foreshadowing with the alliance removing its defensive pact with a major military contractor And then the mention that we could possibly not have seen the end of the Thargoids, which we know that. We already know that we've not seen the end of the Thargoids. We know they're coming back. We just don't know what configuration it's going to be, what it's going to look like. But we know they're still out there. They left. They were beaten, but they still left. So we know they're still out there. There's still some places where you can engage with the Thargoids. That's going to be interesting. Ed Mann. I want to keep calling him Ed McMahon. Just Ed Mann. And the ADF benefits greatly from Sirius Core's technology and industrial might. And yes, they do. But at this point, the Alliance needs to find a way to sustain its own stuff. And it's okay to lean on a corporate partner when you're looking for some kind of a military development cycle, but you want to be careful of becoming dependent on that corporate entity when it comes to your military spending and your military operations. You need your soldiers, your sailors, airmen, your naval, your space, any all of your total force, what we call total force, needs to be self-sustaining. Yes, we need to have places to get parts and stuff, but Sirius does not need to be the only ones out there that have the ability to repair these systems, to maintain these systems. The Alliance needs to be able to stand on its own. And I hope that a separation from Sirius in this capacity is probably the first step of the Alliance kind of branching out on its own. Analysts believe that a reduced Sirius Corp presence in allied military industry and related business will trigger a frantic rush from other companies to fill the supply chain. Exactly. That's all these little companies that have been watching Sirius just take all the money, and they've been standing under there trying to get the water droplets. No, they're going to be rushing in, and hopefully there's some good ones that get in there and are able to fill the void. But yeah, that's quite a hit for Sirius. And it says Sirius Corporation has not yet issued a statement to the media because they are licking their wounds. If I'm interested of disclosure, I do not own stock in Sirius Corporation, but if I did, I'd be furious at this point. I'd want answers. The board for Sirius Corporation has to be livid right now. And the CEO of Sirius has some explaining to do, because in the last 2 years, they have lost their dominance of frameshift drives, and they have lost one of the largest military packs that they had. And so they are just getting beat up one round after another, okay? They are losing this fight, and they've got to find a way to catch themselves, because at this point, what's happened is Sirius Corporation is slowly becoming synonymous with failure. And this is a thing that people are cheering. Okay, I've seen people cheering this decision. And so when people are cheering for your company to lose, there's a problem going on. Okay, and Sirius probably needs to do some serious soul searching and find out what it is about their organization that has made them into somewhat of a pariah across the galaxy. All right, everybody. Hey, these are the disciples. If you would like, and listen carefully for just a moment, if you would like to support this channel, like this video. Apparently, there's a lot of people that watch my content that aren't subscribed to this channel. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure notifications are turned on so that you don't miss any of the Elite Dangerous content that I create on this channel. YouTube is throttling this channel like crazy, and I'm trying to push people to subscribe so you can keep seeing what I do. I love this game, and I want to continue to produce videos like this, and your help is greatly appreciated. These are the disciples. These folks have pledged their support, and if you go to commanderexorcist.tv/support, you can do the same. I do a monthly vlog where I talk about the channel and some other stuff, and then I do early access. Some of the bigger projects that I do, you get usually 24 to 72 hours access to those. You can also go to commanderexorcist.tv/community. It's not up here yet. It will be eventually. But if you go to my community page, you'll have access to all of the projects and things that I work on. So all of my social media is there, as well as access to the Commander Exorcist Discord community if you would like to join, because I would love to have you aboard. And that's going to be it. Taco Tuesday. What a fantastic article. This is great. I love the intrigue aspect of things in the galaxy. You know, I don't cheer on Sirius's destruction, but they needed to be humbled a little bit. and they need to go back to the drawing board and do some soul searching and kind of see what it is about their company that makes everyone not really appreciate, respect, like, or want them around. God, that sounds awful, doesn't it? I mean, they just really are not good people. They need to clean house, basically. And unless they can do something, the frameshift drive itself, aside from the older ships, is doomed. And I think they know that. And so they've got to do something to fill that void. And it would be cool if they were able to come up with some kind of killer technology. But right now, I just don't see it happening. But we'll have to wait and see, because most likely we are not done with the Thargoids. I'm sure they'll be back in some capacity. But will the Alliance be able to stand against them? I'm pretty sure they will. There's lots of us that'll be out there ready to respond to them. It just may take us a little while. Hey, everybody, thanks for hanging out today. I'm Commander Exodus. Take care, fly safe, and I will see you out there.